Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Today's topic, A Guide's Life, featuring NatHab Monarch Butterfly Expedition Leader, Melissa Silva. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Melissa. We're so glad to
Thank
have you.
you. Thank you, Ron. I'm very, very happy about this. As we were just talking about, this is something very new, but I think it's something very cool also to share a little bit more of my life or our lives as guides. It's very cool. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've had the pleasure of doing webinars with you for a couple of years now, and I don't know that much about you, so I'm excited to learn more about you as well. So,
That's right.
let's just dive in. Let's start right at the beginning, and let's find out about you. So, tell us, where were you born and raised?
Okay, so the very, very beginning was here in the metropolitan area of Guadalajara City. The municipality is Zapopan in Jalisco State. You can see the map right there. And this is the baby Melissa. I was 1 month old in that little photo over there with my mom. So this is something very beautiful that I was just going through the old photos of the family. You can see a scan from the album, and it was so cute just to share that my grandmother was there, my mom, my kids, my husband. So we were all like sharing these stories about all of the photos. After I lived in Zapopan for 15 years more or less, and after that I moved to study marine biology. I actually wanted to study at very first a little bit of the very first thing I remember, I wanted to be an astrobiologist. I thought
Wow.
about that, but I had to study physics and mathematics and then astrophysics. I had to move out of Mexico because we don't have, I don't know if we have it right now, that career, astrobiology, but I don't think so. So it was like very complicated. Um, so to study, eventually, I had to move to Puerto Vallarta to study marine biology, and then I actually was living in Puerto Vallarta like in two different times. One when I was studying, and then another time after my master's when I was working. So this is just an example of those times. The one on the bottom left is me on the I think it was the first semester of the career. I was just like the freshman right there, and then the other one you can see like all professional without my eyes stay hurting with the seawater. I was already used to it. So in between these two dates, I was living in a little town named Sisal, Yucatan. I marked it there on the purple star. And I moved there for 2.5 years, more or less, three, because I was studying a master's degree in marine science, specifically focusing on mating behavior of seahorses. So
Intriguing.
this is the photo of one of the females that I had there. Um, it was, I mean, it was very nice because it was I was in touch with the ocean, with the seahorses, but at least like more than half of the time I had to be indoors in the laboratory, watching them and feeding them, like taking care of the animals in captivity. So I was like, no, I don't really want to do that. And it's when I finished the master, I came back to Puerto Vallarta and looked for a job outdoors, like anything outside of the lab. It is very important. I really respect the people that does that and love to be in the lab. Is a key stone on the investigation and research, but not for me. It was very difficult for me to be all the time in the lab in closed doors.
I can understand that completely. So, what made you interested in seahorses? How did that come about?
Well, actually, the very first animal I wanted to study were shorebirds, any marine bird, you name it, seagulls, We have white ivies in Puerto Vallarta. I remember seeing them like, oh, they are so interesting. Herons, terns, like any seabird. I spoke with some biologists that were working with wild birds in the Mexican islands, and in the talks, one of them mentioned that they have to use some special gloves that veterinarians use when they are working with cows or horses, and they are like all arm length. And I was like, I didn't understand why they were using like these huge gloves. And they were saying like, yeah, I mean, they have ticks and they have parasites, external parasites, and they crawl on you. So to prevent them to come in, you just have like Vaseline or some repellent on the glove, but the glove goes all the way to the shoulder. And I never thought about that. And I don't like external parasites or any kind of parasite. So I said like, nope, I cannot do that. I cannot touch the wild birds because, and these little animals, they, believe it or not, they can have parasites, but they will not come to you as easier as the other, let's say, terrestrial or aerial parasites. So at the very end, I was looking for behavior. I want to study to focus on ethology, animal behavior, and I found out about this specific research, and I said like, well, I can try. I don't know. I don't know anything about seahorses. I don't know what I can do, but let's try it. And there I was for 3 years almost.
3 years. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad you tried it.
Yes, no, me too. It was very, very nice. Believe
Excellent.
me.
Well, thanks for sharing that. All right. So now, before we dive into your work and your professional life, I'd like to know a little bit about what you like to do for fun. How do you spend your time when you're not working?
Working. So I actually work, as you know, with not having seasonal according to the animal migration in this case. So actually, like the rest of the year, half of the year, a little bit more, I pretty much stay at home. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have two kids, my husband, so we are here at home, and I really, really like to do things. I like to do things with my hands. I'm very like handy. My husband was asking me like, do you have any photo of you like going with the drill or nailing some stuff, because I really like to do stuff at home. And I was like, no, no one is here when I'm doing that, so no one is taking photos of that, but I have the photos of the work, of the result. And this piñata that you see here, the little is the triangle shape, it's from a cartoon that my daughter liked. It's called Gravity Falls, and I made the piñata because she wanted
Oh,
that and we couldn't find it. So I made the whole piñata, and then the decoration that you see there, I made it too for a under the water theme party also. So I did like everything you see right there, the crab and the octopus, everything. And the other thing I like to do is to cook. I like to follow recipes and then experiment a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But in general, that's what I like to do. Like just to be here with my family, enjoy. We go out not very often, but we like to go to the parks nearby. Here in Mexico City, we have the Chapultepec Park. We have some sierras, some mountain ranges around. So we just go to those places. So yeah, pretty much just like to spend time with the family here at home doing stuff and cooking basically.
wow. Well, I don't know about what anyone else thinks. That looks absolutely delicious. Maybe we should come
Thank you.
down and have dinner with you sometime.
Yeah, sure, you're more than welcome to come and join.
Well, great. Sounds like you have a great home life, and your kids are lucky that you're so creative and artistic, and you can
Yeah.
actually make the pinata they want. That's incredible. All
Yeah, it's
right.
just like, okay, let's do it.
All right. Well, now that we know what you like to do when you're not working, let's talk about your background and how you got to be where you are. So, can you talk about your the path your educational journey took and how
Mhm.
you became inspired to become a marine biologist?
Mhm. So I always love being outside. You can see this in this photo with the swimsuit on the beach. I was like 3 years old or so, and I remember with my parents. I remember traveling a lot to the beach. We have some family, some relatives living here in Nayarit in the Pacific coast, and I remember going there very very often. But I also remember going the same in Guadalajara, in the central part of Jalisco state. There are a lot of parks and a lot of like protected areas, little mountains. We have a lot of springs nearby, so we used to go there and hike, camping. We used to camp a lot when I was kid, and you can see this photo of me kissing a little. When I saw that photo, I was like, "Oh, Melissa, you don't know what you were doing." My parents just letting me kissing a little bird. And I remember we fed that bird. You can see it's a chick, it's a baby bird. And we found it in one of those hikes alone. We took it home. I remember seeing the little parasites, the little ticks they have, but I didn't understood what I didn't understand what that was. Um, and we took care of the little bird for about a month or little bit less, a couple of weeks maybe, and then we make a special trip to go and release it, to make it, to set it free. So I was always in love. I love the nature and being outside since I remember. At the very beginning, I actually wanted to be an archaeologist or a paleontologist together with the astrobiologist. I remember we had some movies, these films VHS, and we had, I don't know, Mayan sites. I remember Calakmul or Ekbalam. So it was documentaries about the Mayan ruins. Um, I remember, well, I remember watching Jurassic Park and seeing the paleontologists there. I love their clothes and the jeeps. So I wanted to do that. I really wanted to be there in that specific scenario. I remember also, watching the news or whatever, and these people on the dirt. That's something I do remember very well. They were on the dirt cleaning the stuff and taking, I don't know, a piece of clay or a little bone, whatever they were dusting off. And I wanted to be there. Like, I wanted to be messy and muddy and dirt and sweaty. So since I was a kid, I remember wanted to do that. Later on, according like to my parents, they said I was obsessed with the movie The Little Mermaid. So as I was like evolving this idea of being outside and being sweaty, what I wanted to do, I wanted to be a mermaid. That's what I wanted to do. So you can see this little Melissa. This photo is how old am I? 38, 39. This is more than 3 decades old. So this is 32, 31 years old, the photo, and I still have that mermaid doll. I
so
still
you,
have it.
that's so great. So you went from wanting to be Indiana Jones to being the Little Mermaid. That's amazing.
Yep. So I was when I was making this, I thought like, oh, little Melissa, we made it. Maybe you don't have a tail, but you can swim like a mermaid for a while, and you are sweaty, and you are muddy, and you are outdoor.
So
I love
you
it.
made your dreams come true in one way or the other.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I have to be very honest. I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky. I was able to achieve what I wanted. Now that I can see in retrospective.
wow. Well, great. So now that you love to be outdoors, and obviously with the bird, you love you love animals. So can you talk about what led you to actually becoming a naturalist guide? We know you didn't like to be inside. That was one thing.
Hmm. Yeah. So, well, if you remember, I when I was like moving in and out from Puerto Vallarta, in one of those when I came back and I started working there, Happily, luckily for me, I started working with a company named Eco Tours de Mexico, or Eco Tours of Mexico, and it was day trips only, whale watching, dolphin watching. At the very beginning, I was like, I don't know if tourism is for me. I was not really sure like what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to be inside. I wanted to be outside, even cleaning the gardens or whatever, like outside with nature, with plants, with little animals. Um, so when I started working there, I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, and then we had the tips and we had the payment, and since it was in Puerto Vallarta, a lot of foreign people goes there and they tip in dollars, and actually some of them tip me once in euros or pounds, or I don't know, some currency from Europe, and I was like, I don't know if this works here, but thank you for my collection. So I really like that. After that, when I was working in Eco Tours, they were actually the tour operator for Not Have a whale shark trip and monarch butterfly trip. So they called me like, I think we need an extra guy. Would you like to come and help us with this and that? We used to have a um, humpback whale watching extension in Puerto Vallarta for the monarch butterflies. Yeah, more than 10 years ago, maybe 12. My daughter is 16, she was 4. Yeah, like 12 years ago, we used to have the humpback whale extension, and I started with that, just like a couple of days with the Nahab group, and just doing like what we do in regular trips. And then I think they like how I work with the groups, and that's when they say we need extra guides, come with us. So pretty much that's how I fell completely on the naturalist and the interpretative guiding for these people on NatHab and ecotours. And well, eventually I think that's like the thing I like to do. uh, I don't know. I consider myself a little bit of. I cannot say I'm introverted, but I don't know. I don't really. This is very different for me to speak about my personal things and my family. Like it's like I don't know, but I really like to be with people. I like people, and I like to um I don't know, to help them or to make them enjoy, or help them enjoy what they are doing, we just came from Puerto Vallarta 1 week ago. My kids were on vacation, spring break, and I was with my daughter. We went to the beach only twice, only 2 days out of 6 we were there, because well, my grandmother is 90, and then my kid is the little boy is 5, and my mom was working a couple of days. So I was like, okay, just take it easy. We'll do what we can do. We'll just go with the flow. And we were in the beach two days only. On the first day, a group of kids, they were maybe my daughter's age or younger, and they came to us and they were like, can we be with you in this area? Yeah, sure. We were playing on the waves, and then they started telling me I have a couple of mermaid tattoos on the shoulder, and they saw them, and they started asking me why I had them, and then I told them I'm a marine biologist, and then they started asking a lot of questions. Then one kid asked me, aren't the fish gross? And I'm like, well, some are gross, but in general they are okay. And then, well, they just were chatting and asking stuff. And then the next day we were there again, and a couple of ladies, they came to us, and they came to me, and they told me like, can you help us a little bit? We had the bodyboards, we were surfing, my daughter and I, and one of the ladies said, can you help me to go a little bit deeper with your board? Can you? I really want to come. My sister is also scared. Blah blah. Okay, come in. So I held them, and she was just like enjoying a little bit the beach. And then when they just stay with us like for 10 minutes, and when we got off the water, my daughter was like, what's with you, mom? Everyone comes to you and speaks to you and asks for help. Like, what's with you? I don't know. I was like, I don't know, something in my face, maybe something funny. But yeah,
So,
it was something cool, like to see that interaction, like how people is, I don't know, there's something weird, but it works for good, you know?
well,
And
you must have something about you that screams, I know about marine biology, come talk to me.
yes,
That's just really amazing. And the fact that you just dove right in and you let them know all this information, that's a wonderful thing. That's what we need for our NatHab guides, right?
yes.
So, what trips do you currently lead for NatHab?
Well, right now I only lead the Monarch butterfly trip. We used to have a couple of years, for 3 years ago, more or less, a whale shark trip in the Yucatan Peninsula. But this is something very, I don't know if dual or ambivalent. Not have canceled the trip, sadly, for like all the economy, for all the visit, for me, that was like my escape in summertime to the beach. But believe me, I was very happy it happened. It had become a little bit complicated. We say in Spanish, ugly, feo, because it's not so well regulated. So I remember being there the very last season, and we had hundreds of boats all around the place. And well, the climate is changing, the ocean is currents are changing, the ocean acidification, like all the changes that we have due to this climate change. And we had very few the whale sharks, so there was a lot of pressure on them. It was awful. I mean, it was, I think, some of the ugliest or very bad experience that me as a biologist and as a naturalist guide has had, because people didn't enjoy it. I mean, I didn't enjoy it, and I was not there for fun. I was working, so I could really tell, like, no, this is not something that not have offers. Is not our mission, our vision as a company. So when we reported that, me and a couple of other coworkers, not have came back like, yeah, we had also some bad feedback from our clients. You know what? The decision is we cancel it. So it was, I mean, heartbreaking, because the Caribbean and the summer, but it was the best thing that we could do, because it makes sense for the company, for what we are as a company. So nowadays I just guide the Monarch butterfly trips. Uh, it's a busy season, and we can talk about that if you want.
Ye-
It's very, very cool.
Yes, let's definitely talk about the trip. So, do we, let's start right away with this question. Do we know why the monarchs migrate to the central highlands of Mexico? Why does that happen?
Why? Yeah, we can say yes, but we're still missing some pieces of the puzzle. I mean, we have some decent idea, a broad idea of why they come here. The is the consensus, the majority of researchers agree that, of course, is because it's a very cold environment during that time of the year when they are here on the northern area. You can see all this green area on the map is very cold, and their only food source for caterpillars doesn't exist. So we don't have any milkweed during winter time, which is vital for them. So that would be like, those are like the things that we know for a fact that drives their fall migration, that triggers their fall migration. There's no food and it's very cold. I don't want to be here, and that's why they come down here. Why they come exactly to these specific areas, we still don't know. That's one of the mysteries. I hope it remains a mystery for longer, because then you have more and more people interested in them. But we know they need the milkweed for the caterpillars. They don't have it. They need to move out. And since it's too cold, it's pretty much like when you put something on the fridge and it stays good for longer periods of time. this generation, the fall generation, lives longer because the temperature is lower. So insects are ectotherms. They need the external temperature to have their metabolism running. So if it is cold outside, inside is cold, and they kind of go. Specifically, the monarch butterfly goes in a something called diapause, which is not completely a hibernation like the birds, but more like dormant, just like slow. They make their metabolism slow. So pretty much that's what we know, and that's what we don't know.
Gotcha. All right. So it's just one of life's big mysteries that we'll
Miss.
keep trying to solve. Do we? Is
Mhm.
there any issues with milkweed? Is there a shortage of that? Is that something that we here in the United States could we plant milkweed to help at all with? I know that there are some issues with numbers as far as the monarchs go as well.
Yeah. See, well, something very important to understand, because I've seen a little bit of confusion on that. Milkweed is key, and it's the most important plant because the caterpillar, the monarch caterpillar, only feeds on milkweed. So I was telling a group on the season, it's pretty much like a picky eater that only eats, I don't know, nuggets and ketchup, and that's it. So if you don't have nuggets and ketchup, you won't eat. The caterpillar is a picky eater. They only eat milkweed. And for the research that I've read, they prefer a couple, like 4 or 5 species only, and there are more than 100 species. Of course, if they don't have available the ones they prefer, they will go and lay the eggs on the other milkweed species available. But if there is none, if there is not a single milkweed available, they won't lay the eggs. So that's a problematic right now because the the biggest percentage of migratory butterflies comes from this area here. I don't know if you can see the. Let me add the laser here. I don't know. Can you see the laser now
Yes,
on
yes, we
the
can.
screen? So here is where we have like 50% of the migratory population in this area only.
Huh.
In all this area we have migratory butterflies, but only here is 50%. So here is a major agricultural area. Of course, a lot of modifications on the soil, a lot of lands that are for monocultives, and so that's why all the people living on this area can help, and is what you said, can help by planting milkweed and having milkweed available for the monarch butterflies. Something that we think is important to know also is that the native milkweed is better than the tropical milkweed, that is the most common one, the wider spread. So, but yeah, basically that's the problem we are facing with the monarch population decline. Most of the milkweed in the wild is getting lost in this central area that has around 50% of the migratory population.
Do we know why the milkweed is being lost? Is it climate change? Is it development? Do we know?
All of that, yeah, multifactorial, because climate change brings either the opposite, very dry environment or very wet environment, and the milkweed doesn't survive any of those the opposite extremes. um, and also the land modification, the land usage, either by the construction of new urban developments, or agricultural practices that are not so eco-friendly,
Mhm.
like these genetically modified organisms that you can spray with specific este, herbicides and kills everything except the GMOs. So yeah, it's multifactorial, pretty much. This ¿cómo se llama? Two factors: the climate change and the habitat loss, or the modification of the habitat specifically there. That's why we don't have the milkweeds.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for covering that.
Yeah.
It's something that we must continue to fight and do better at here in this country for sure. So let's
Mhm.
get back to the trip though. Let's talk about that. In general, can you talk about what we might experience when we come join you on this amazing adventure?
Okie dokie. So, well, the trip is about it's 6 day long, flying in, flying out, and 4 days on the middle. And we visit two sanctuaries there 3 times. So that means one of the sanctuaries we visit twice, different time, different days, and different time of the day. Some people before the trip, some people have commented when we are starting, like, well, why don't we go to the 3 times, or why don't we go to three different sanctuaries? We go to the two historically to the two larger sanctuaries, to the two larger populations of the sanctuaries or colonies, uh, the Sierra Chincua and El Rosario. So through the years, we have consistently see that these two sanctuaries have more butterflies, a denser coverage of the forest. So that's why we visited them and twice. And then we visit them in the early day and on the afternoon, different on the same sanctuary, different days, to see the different activity that we can find in the forest. So, for example, when we visit on the afternoon, we usually see the butterflies, just to put it on simple words, going back to sleep on the clusters, on the trees. So you will see them like getting all together, less and less activity. You will see less butterflies flying, but you will see more birds. It's winter time, and we have migratory birds here in central Mexico, a lot of migratory birds. And as we come down from the forest, we actually hike down on the afternoon so we can bird watch endemic species, some species of birds that are only found on those mountains of Mexico, and migratory birds that are found in the same area. So that's something very, very cool. And then when we visit that sanctuary on the morning time, is the opposite. We don't see as many birds like active. They are already like going out for breakfast. And then we see the butterflies waking up, let's say. We see a little bit more and more. And if we are lucky enough, and the weather gods and goddess are good with us, and we have sunny days, we start seeing more and more butterflies flying. So pretty much that's like the two sides of the sanctuaries. So that's what we like to do. And these photos that you see here is how we move there, how we get to the places. We have a big bus to take us from Mexico City to Angangueo town, the little town we stayed 2 nights. And for the visits to the sanctuaries, we take the open bed truck, this one here, with a little cushions and benches on the side. We take it twice to get to one of the sanctuaries, and then we take horses and hike for the rest of the trip for the two sanctuaries, for the three visits. So that's why I put there 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3. So just for you to have an idea, like we use all of this. I consider it is a very dynamic trip, because you have a lot of activities to move from one side to another. It's not only like a boat ride for 3 hours. No, it's like go to the truck, go to the horses, hike back. So it's cool. I mean, it keeps you active and keeps you awake.
Oh, that sounds great. How many people will be on the trip with me?
The maximum we have is a group of 16. Usually goes from 12 to 16. That's the average. 15, 14 more or less. So, and you have two expedition leaders with you. So pretty much it's like eight people per expedition leader. So pretty, very personal.
Is there, so you said we're going to be doing different modes of transportation. Is there going to be a lot of walking? How great of shape do I need to be in?
Well, the amount of walking, the distance, and the time, it's going to be dependent on where the butterflies are. So usually, for sure, we know usually the horse ride is about 35, 40 minutes, more or less. The hiking varies from 20 to 1 hour. 20 to 40 minutes. It depends where the butterflies are. Um, you need to have a average above physical shape more than anything because of the altitude. Most of the places we visit are 10,000 feet or more in altitude. And I have noticed, I mean, we have had Ironman the people like this the competitors for Ironman, and they can go and come back, and they are already trained for doing that. Average people like me, that I try to stay fit a little bit, it's really hard. The very first visit to the sanctuary is really hard. The altitude on the body, the acclimatation, you can feel it. You can feel the lack of oxygen. You can feel the heart going bumping very very fast to help the compensation. But in general terms, I mean, you can come. I've seen people. I don't recommend, but I've seen babies with their parents, so like 1 year old or younger, which I said I don't recommend. I've seen people with crutches going there little by little, little by little. Once again, I do not recommend that at all. But I mean, any person can go. Uh, Specifically for NatHab, what I would recommend to our viewers is to ask the adventure specialist they can get in touch with to see how they can match the physical requirements for the trip and to come with us.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. So let me ask you, do we need a horse riding experience or will you teach us that?
No, actually, the horses are in autopilot. You can see here this young boy. You can see it's the horse keeper. So you
Gotcha.
can see the rope. They are always taking one or maximum two horses, and most of the time they own the horses, so they know the horse. The horse knows them, and they know the horse.
Awesome.
The horses are very how can I say, noble, very very easy, and you really don't need to like drive them to ride them. So no experience is needed. um, we give a safety briefing before going there. Something very important that I want to point out, and we always tell and repeat, is that our travelers need to communicate with the guide, with the expedition leader, in order to feel comfortable and to feel safe. So if you are neither of those, like something is not right with the settle, let us know immediately. If you don't feel 100% safe, let us know and we will work on that. But communication is actually a key on these trips to make them perfect. So well, yeah, no experience, previous experience needed for that.
Right. Gotcha. Thank you. And we won't be afraid to speak up when we come on a trip too, to make
Exactly,
sure we
please
have the
do.
best experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, can you talk about where we'll be staying? What are the accommodations like? Are we staying at a high altitude as well so we can get acclimated?
Yeah, well, we meet here in Mexico City the first night, and it's already 7,000 feet. So if you come from sea level, it's always a little bit better to come some days earlier, so you adjust to the altitude. There are some areas from the hotel where we stay, walking distance, that can help you to improve the acclimatation. Yeah, acclimatation, and I mix the words in Spanish.
You're
Um,
doing great. We love it.
and then, well, that's if you come from sea level. Then, from Mexico City, we go to Angangueo town, that is about 8,000, 9,000 feet more or less. But from there, we go almost immediately to the 10,000, 11,000. So I would recommend, if you come from sea level, to come a couple of days before to Mexico City to get used to the altitude. If you are already like in a higher elevation, the regular timing it's okay, the regular trip. And I think I have some photos here of one of the hotels. Oh well, parentheses. This is something that we can see after the hike, the truck ride, the horse ride, and the hiking. So you can see we have a scope. We usually take the scope for a close-up view like this one on the left of the butterflies. And of course, I want to point out this. Of course, we want to have sunny days, flying butterflies, and just like perfect, everything perfect in human standards. But the monarch butterfly is here to rest. So they started their journey in late September, early August from southern Canada, central US. They come here, they arrived in early November to Mexico, to central Mexico, and they need to rest. They are here saving energy. They don't have food. The flowers that are on the reserve, they are very poor in nutrients. So what they have to do is to rest, and sometimes we have scenarios like this. This is, let me go back a little bit. This photo here on the right with the lady taking the photo. This is El Rosario Sanctuary. This is El Rosario Sanctuary in a different day. Completely fogged and completely misty and humid. And you can see all these clusters, all these what looks like dry leaves. All of those are butterflies. So for me, in a very personal opinion, for me, this is what I want for the butterflies, that they are resting, that they are saving energy to make it to the north on the travel back, on the journey back. So this is something very beautiful in my perspective. Of course, we want to see the orange and the snow globe experience, but this is what the monarch butterfly needs. They need to rest. So, well, I close the parentheses. This is what we can see there.
Do the monarchs have to worry about predators at all?
Yes, yeah, in the sanctuaries, like through the life cycle, they have many predators. They have the praying mantis. They are one of the main predators of caterpillars, ants, wasps, spiders, even other caterpillars. Other monarch caterpillars eat caterpillar eggs. It's the monarch eggs or monarch caterpillars. They are cannibalistic in a certain way. Um, and when they come here, when they are butterflies, the same, some spiders. And here in Mexico specifically, we have three different predators, uh, proven predators: an oriole, a grosbeak, and a mouse. Those are the three different species that we have here predating on them. So yeah, it's not easy to be a monarch butterfly.
But they are beautiful, so there
They
is
are
that.
beautiful.
So let's talk about a typical day on the trip. Can you just go through what a typical day would look like down there?
Okay, so let's say one day when we are already in town and we're going to visit in the morning a sanctuary, we have breakfast around 8 a.m. We take the vehicle, the motorized vehicle, to the sanctuary around 9:30 ish. We take the horses closer to the core area of the sanctuary of the reserve, and then from the horses we hike closer to the butterflies. We hike back. Sometimes we take the horseback. Sometimes we hike all the way back to I call it the extraction point where we take the vehicle back to the launch area. And we have a couple of hours of resting time of downtown in between lunch and the next activity, more or less. As for example, one of the afternoons we have a tour around downtown in this mountain town of Angangeo near the sanctuaries. In one of the evenings we have a lecture. One of the mid mornings by noon we have another lecture in another day. So pretty much it's like a activity morning and then a little bit more relaxed afternoon with optional activities. These photos here specifically is from day four of our trip, when we are in a hotel named Agua Blanca. This is after the visits to the sanctuaries. we visit in the morning one of the sanctuary. We have lunch nearby, and then we arrive to this Agua Blanca hotel that we have these pools or springs, mineral springs, and this is more pretty much like the off day, the decompressed day in
Mhm.
this area. Day 5, we spend pretty much all day 5 in the area, hiking, bird watching, in the pool. All of those are like optional activities, and we actually have well, like a massage area, not a spa. We don't have a like a sweat area or a jacuzzi area, but well, you can have a este Shih Tzu massage, reflexology, or just being on the pool there, or just reading on the area. It's a beautiful area to pretty much like soak it up, like remember what you just lived in these beautiful mountains. So more or less is what we do. It's very different. Every day is very different, but in general is what we do. Activities in the morning, optional activities on the afternoon, kind of.
So great. So there is a little bit of downtime if we just want to sit and relax every once in a while. That's
Yes,
good to know too. Not that we want to miss anything, obviously.
I know. I
Um,
know.
so we know that NatHab believes in conservation through exploration. It's actually our mission. So how important is conservation to Mexico in maintaining their diverse ecosystems? Are there any ongoing conservation projects or any endeavors that you're currently working on or would like to see initiated?
See, sorry. So, well, as any other country, I think we have this ministry or secretariat from environment and natural resources, and all of these little other logos that you see right here with the laser pointed out, all of those are different departments that they focus in different stuff: forest, water, renewable energy sources. There's actually a legal department of protection of the environment, and some of the programs they have is a subsidy, like a grant for local communities. Is something that we mentioned in the trip. There's a different, the land in Mexico is divided in roughly in three different sectors: the public sector that belongs to the government, the private sector that belongs to any citizen, and then there is another one that is called ejido. Basically, it's like a semi-autonomous community, usually native communities, indigenous communities that are they own pieces of land. In Mexico, around 70 to 80% of the protected areas belong to this type of communities.
Hmm.
So it is important that the government gives some grants or gives some help for the community to take care of the land instead of taking the resources of it. So this little screenshot on the left, on the bottom left, talks about that the program to give subsidies for conservation, for sustainable management of native areas of native wildlife. So well, we do have a lot of those little programs and actions. And another thing that I consider it's very important is the declaration of new protected areas. On the past term with the past president, we now have the first woman, the first president, woman president in Mexico, and if I remember correctly, in the North American area. Um, on the previous term with the president Lopez Obrador, they had 44 new natural protected areas, 44 new ones, areas designated as protected land. From those 44, 11 of those are national parks, the highest category for the federal government protection, pretty much like the national parks for the US. Is the highest category that you can have in a natural protected area. So 11 new natural protected areas, even if there are some that are very little, but that's something important, just to start a little bit like this is protected, don't touch it. Eventually you can work in making it bigger and making it with a buffer area for conservation as well. So this is something that I'm really happy to share, that it's work going on. I mean, it's not the only issue going in Mexico, you know. Something that I am working with, or not working per se, but volunteering with it, is the conservation of this little hill, piece of hill that we have on the photo. Okay, big. I need to give context about this. There is this municipality. You can see it in this map here on Mexico City. It's called Iztapalapa. It's a borough or municipality. Mexico City is the newest state of Mexico, so the divisions are a little bit different and weird. But Iztapalapa is the most populated area of the country. It used to be Tijuana, but now is that this area, everything you see here, I mean, you can see all the constructions right there. Um, we have 16,000, more than 16,000 people per square kilometer. Each square kilometer is like 250 acres. So in 250 acres, you have more than 16,000 people living in Iztapalapa. Of course, it is important to have nature there. I mean, we need clean air to breathe. So there is this network, this volunteer or neighborhood network called Red Socioambiental Paraíso y Paz. And what they do is something very cool, because they are taking care of this little piece of hill that we still have. It's like maybe 30, 40%, less than 50% of the hill, you can see. So they are taking care of this area because it actually has pre-Hispanic ruins. There are some ruins there from the Aztec times. So it has cultural importance, historical importance, and of course, environmental importance. They make these brigades or volunteering programs of hiking, bird watching, cleaning the area. During dry times, winter times, they go and water a little bit the plants there, the reforestation areas. And this here on the right corner, right top corner, you can see it's a bunch of people walking online with a couple of soldiers there. I don't know if you see them. This is a camping that we were doing. I am there, one of these two. This is my daughter, and this is me. I see me. And we were camping in the Tepopolco. And the idea of that is to raise awareness on the area, to know the place, to see how beautiful it is, to see how important it is. And well, of course, there are many environmental factors, but what I wanted to point out, and that's why they have this logo, this little animal on the logo, is that the Tepopolco is a reservoir or a natural area where we still have the Cacomixtle mammal. This little animal is from the raccoon family, and I really want to show off because in this little rectangle that you see here is my mother-in-law's house. So this photo is from her backyard.
Wow.
So, and I mean, she's not that far from the hill, but still, imagine this little animal is. I mean, you can see the steps there. What are those, like maybe 2 feet long? The Cacomixtle, and it has to cross all this urban area to get to the hill and then to come back here because they eat my mother-in-law's tomatoes. She has plants there and they eat those. So it's something very cool to be part of this type of projects in I mean in a megalopolis like Mexico City.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
it's
Well,
so
thank you
cool.
for yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. That's something that we wouldn't ever have any idea about. So thank you
Yeah.
for letting us know.
My
So
pleasure.
we're starting to run out of time. So I would like to remind everyone that if you do have questions, feel free to submit them via the question field in your control panel, and we'll get to them as we finish up here. So you've been a guide for over a decade now. Is there a special moment or a unique experience that stands out to you that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I think that something very important and very beautiful, besides the wildlife and like all the experience on the traveling, is the connection that you make, that the travelers make. And not only the travelers. Here you can see a photo of me with Claudia and Diana. So the connection that you have with your coworkers, with the people traveling together. These two ladies here leaning on the tree, they are friends. They travel together in this just they two as friends. But these two on the table, they didn't know each other before the trip, and you can see they are just like hanging out together. They are making new friends. So it's a connection that you don't really that you can find. Let me just rephrase that. It's a connection that you can find only in nature, when you are connected in this type of environments with the same mindset. It's a different type of connection. You can get connected by video games or hobbies or I don't know, cooking classes or something like that. But the connection you make by traveling in a nature trip is very different and is very, very special. So here you see, this is a friend. I just saw her. She came to Mexico, Wendy. And just being there, being connected not only with other people, but also with nature. That's something very, very cool that I always like, and it's like one of my favorite parts of the trip. Another very special moment that I don't have photos of that, because I will go on that and you will see, oh, something very personal, and you are not taking photos of that in that moment. In Mexico, we have this idea, and Mexico and some parts of Central America, that the butterflies in general, hummingbirds, also are either the souls of our ancestors, the souls of the dead, here as it says, las almas de los muertos, the souls of the dead ones, but more specifically, the spirit of a relative, the spirit of our beloved one that passed away. And I have had some very, very emotive, emotional,
Emotional.
emotional experiences. Yeah, of people coming. This is a trip of a lifetime, and some people comes here because they previously had this idea of the souls and spirits, but or they just learn about that and they lost someone and they want to like close this, uh, or give I don't know if close it, but to have a little bit of healing, a little bit of you
Closure.
know, something more, something more. You say what? Sorry.
Closure.
A closure, yeah, maybe a closure, or just something to manage this experience a little bit better. And I remember the closest one in January that we had was this family, the grandmother, the son of this lady, and two of her grandsons. One was the kid of this of the son. Anyways, it was a little family of four, and the woman, the lady, lost her husband for the pandemics, and the father lost one of his kids. So it was so emotional and so beautiful because he had a butterfly landing on him. He had a male butterfly and he lost a son. So it was something so beautiful and so healing for them. We were all crying. It was so beautiful because I mean, we have this cosmovision already for culturals, but seeing someone that comes here and has that experience, and I mean, we were, I don't know, 20 people, 30 people in the place, and he got one butterfly landing on him. So it was something very special. So that's why we don't have photos of those moments, because it's like the moment. You live the moment, and that's it. But I think that would be maybe the most deep, or yeah, the deepest experiences that I have had, because it's not the only one. I've had several of those. Very beautiful.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
It really does sound spiritual and absolutely amazing. So let me ask you, is there one thing that you would like our guests to know before they come down to visit you for the Monarchs trip?
Yeah, I would recommend. I mean, we have a lot of know before you go webinars. You can always call the office and, hey, I don't know, should I pack, I don't know, the blue shirt or the black shirt? I don't know, things like those. What I will strongly recommend and ask is that our visitors become adventurous, and that I will go deeper on that, and be present on the moment. So, adventurous in what matter? You come to a different country with different cultures, different ideas of life, different ways of living, specifically in these mountain towns. But you can always find, I really like this photo. We were just walking in Toluca City, and then one of these ladies saw a piece of fabric that she liked, and she was like, I really want that, can you, we go, yeah, let's go. So this type of adventures of buying, and I try to let them like manage how to buy it, how many meters, like being adventurous, and the new language, the new currency, of course the new food, the new way of living, as I mentioned. So this is something that I really appreciate a lot, because it's part of traveling also, to be out of the comfort zone a little bit, but still like trying to learn new things, or try new things. And the other recommendation of being present, sometimes in this modern world we are like very distracted. The phone, the computer, TV shows, all the noises in the cities, or even if we are not in the city per se, you still are distracted by stuff, daily stuff. When we are in the forest, we don't have phone signals. We don't have, most of the time, we don't have noises other than the forest. And still, I've noticed sometimes that people is distracted. They are either distracted with the snacks, they are distracted with the camera, or talking to each other about things from the city or things from their work, whatever. They are distracted. And this little animal here, for example, this is a moth, a princely tiger moth that we find in the sanctuaries. Sometimes you pass by it and you don't see it. Someone that is looking takes a photo, and then when they show it, it's like, where was it? I didn't see it. You need to be present. You need to observe, to be on the moment, because, well, it's part of the adventure as well. Being present.
That's some great advice. Thank you for that. We will keep that in mind. Keep your eyes open and your mouth shut, right?
The brain. We need to shut our brain sometimes.
Yep, and just experience. I wholeheartedly agree. Well, unfortunately, Melissa, that's just going to be about the last question that we do have for today. But before we go, I would like to ask you, what does the future hold in store for you?
Well, before the future, I want to just get a glance to the past. These photos that you are seeing now, these are the photos from 1994, 1996, one of the first times I visited the monarch sanctuaries. So my mom said, you were destined to be there all the time, because since you were little, you were in the place. And the future pretty much is the same, like be always aware of my surroundings. These three photos here you see, the grasshopper and the flowers, are from around the corner. So I'm always like watching these little things, the flowers, the plants, the animals, whatever I get, the fungus also, the mushrooms, I like them. And well, just keep enjoying what I've been doing all these years with my family. I would like to teach my kids the importance of conservation of nature, encounters, and to be aware, just what I mentioned, to be present, to observe, to think, to learn. So pretty much that's it. Just to keep on this path that it's been very good so far. Actually, I'm
Well,
blessed.
Melissa, thank you so much for taking the time to share your personality and your knowledge about the trip with us. It was really wonderful to get to know you in this way. I'm sure that we're all looking forward to coming down to see you on the next Monarch trip.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very happy to share this all.
And I would also like to thank everyone who joined us today. So if you are interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, please give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. So join us tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.